Well, it's finally time for a channel update about kind of the state of affairs on this channel. And in the past, I've reviewed books and suggested reading material to a lot of you, and I appreciate you following that. But in light of my recent video where I was announcing Patrick's channel getting pulled, I've done some deep, profound thinking about the material I've done in the past and realized that I was kind of sliding into enabling a lot of conspiracy kind of thinking. So I've got a new direction for this channel, and you all bear with me here. I know not everybody's going to be happy with this, but in the past I've reviewed a lot of books like Educating for the New World Order, or I don't think I reviewed this one yet, but that one, hopefully I'll get to it. The Man Who Mastered Gravity. But I reviewed a lot of eclectic titles, shall we say. And recently I got my mind right, and I realized that it's probably best to be very careful about a lot of the material I review, because there's a lot of people that might think that I'm encouraging hate and maybe spreading disinformation, that sort of thing. And in light of that, I thought maybe a better direction for this channel, just so there is no confusion, is from this point on, I'd really like to go a very different direction, because I'm realizing now that there's a lot of people upset with YouTube and all, but I'm starting to see it very different. I'm starting to see YouTube as kind of a brother figure that's, somebody that steps in the room when you're doing something wrong, you're playing with matches, and your big brother comes in and he's like, hey, you could burn down the house. And you're like, didn't even think about that. And you get your mind right and you realize, I shouldn't be playing with the matches, so you put them up. And that's what YouTube is doing. YouTube is just trying to protect us from ourselves, honestly. So with that in mind, I think probably the best direction to go with this channel is when I encounter some of the books like this in my personal library, some of the more esoteric material. I think this might be a good idea to start using my platform to warn people about this kind of material and the dangers therein. So let me know what you think, but I'm thinking that might be probably a more positive direction for the channel, is to warn people about material like this and point out some of the pitfalls of some of the material and where that could lead someone astray. And I think the best way to protect people against misinformation, like obvious examples like this, would be to show them the disinformation and show it for what it is, and let the people see these terrible things and know to stay away from them. It's kind of like when you're taking driver's ed and you see the accident films and things like that. You see that, and that immediately drives home the point. I need to drive carefully because I don't want to be on one of those accident films. So that's the direction I'm thinking about taking. Let me know what you think in the comment section. But I'm thinking about just, frankly, doing a kind of a 180, because I'm realizing, again, YouTube has our best interests in mind, and they're not trying to hold us back. It's not sometimes freedom. The best way to encourage freedom is to have some limits on that freedom. You're not losing freedom, you're gaining limits on those freedoms that keep you from getting in trouble. And again, like the big brother coming into the room and going, hey, don't play with matches. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. If you all, I know there are people going to be like, I can't believe you would do a 180, but I've gone through a certain amount of growth and realizing that, again, there's a lot of literature I've covered in the past that is just probably straight up hate speech. And I think a better direction for the future is to explain why it's hate speech and how to avoid it, and to watch out for it. And you know, you don't know what to watch out for unless somebody tells you. So, and obviously, I'll be covering some good positive books that steer you in a better direction. But I think from here on out, I think probably the best way to keep this channel going is to do it in a way that is more helpful and is a full frontal assault on disinformation. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And if some of you want to go to a different channel, or you know, I totally understand this is not going to be for everybody. But those of you who are willing to join in the fight against disinformation with me, I hope you'll join me.